You think if you just keep working harder, everything will eventually fall into place. But the truth is, the harder you work, the easier it becomes for the system to keep you exactly where you are. At first, it feels like growth. You step into your role, and everything is new. You're learning fast. Every task stretches you. Every challenge feels like progress. People start noticing you. They trust you with more responsibility, and that trust feels like proof that you're moving forward. So you lean in. You give more. You take on more. You become the person people rely on. And it feels right, because this is what you were taught. Work hard, stay consistent, be reliable. That's the formula. Then the second year comes. You're no longer learning the basics. You've mastered them. You move faster. You make fewer mistakes. You anticipate problems before they happen. You become efficient in ways that newer people can't match. You don't just do your job anymore. You carry it. And again, it feels like progress. But then something shifts. Not loudly, not dramatically, just enough for you to feel it. You look around one day and realize something uncomfortable. You're doing more than ever, but nothing is changing. Same level, same pay, same conversations. A different year with the same outcome. And that's when the question starts to form. If I'm doing everything right, why am I still here? Then you notice something else. There's always someone. They joined after you. They don't seem more skilled than you. They don't work longer hours than you. But somehow, they're ahead. They're in better meetings. They're getting better projects. They're closer to decision makers. And every time you see it, something tightens inside you. Not anger, not even jealousy. Confusion, because it doesn't make sense. You followed the rules. You stayed disciplined. You didn't complain. You kept your head down and delivered. You believe that effort turns into opportunity, that eventually the system rewards those who deserve it. But here's the part no one tells you early enough. That belief is not just wrong. It's expensive. Because while you're investing years into it, the system is operating on something completely different. Your job was never designed to make you grow. It was designed to make you useful. And the moment you become very useful, you become very difficult to move. Think about it. You solve problems quickly. You handle pressure without breaking. You don't need supervision. From your perspective, that should make you the perfect candidate for promotion. From the system's perspective, that makes you dangerous to replace. Because every time someone gets promoted, a gap is created. And that gap costs more than you think. It costs time to train someone new. It costs productivity while they learn. It creates risk in areas that were once stable. So when leadership looks at you, they're not just asking if you're ready. They're asking something much more practical. Can we afford to lose this person where they are? And if the answer is no, you stay. No matter how capable you are, that's the first shift you need to understand. Being good at your job does not guarantee growth. It often guarantees stability for the company, not for you. But it doesn't stop there. Because while you're focused on doing more, fixing more, carrying more, something else is happening in the background. Something quieter, something most people never pay attention to. Your perception is being built. Every meeting you attend, every time your name is mentioned when you're not in the room, every interaction, every small moment, people are forming an image of you. And here's the part that changes everything. That image is not based on how hard you work. It's based on how visible your work is. Because work does not speak for itself. It never has. When you fix a problem before anyone notices, from the outside, nothing happened. No disruption, no urgency, no spotlight, just silence. And in a system driven by attention, silence is invisible. But when something breaks, everyone sees it. Everyone talks about it. Attention flows toward disruption, not consistency, which means the better you are at quietly doing your job, the less visible you become. And visibility is what drives opportunity. That's why the person who speaks up more, who presents their ideas, who makes sure their work is seen, often moves faster than the person who just delivers. Not because they're better, but because they're visible. You think hard work is the signal. The truth is, visibility is the signal. If this hits, comment 1 below, because this is where most people start to wake up. And once you see it, you start noticing patterns everywhere. The meetings feel different. The conversations feel different. You start realizing that the workplace isn't just about execution. It's about perception. And then there's another layer, one that most people completely overlook. You treat the workplace like a social environment. You share ideas. You talk about your goals. You express what you want. It feels natural. But there's a type of information that doesn't behave socially. Ambition. The moment you openly talk about where you want to go, you trigger reactions. Your manager hears uncertainty. This person might leave. Your coworkers hear competition. This person is trying to move ahead. Leadership hears risk. This person needs to be watched or controlled. And once that signal is out, you don't control how it's interpreted. That's why some people move in silence. They don't announce their next step. They don't over-explain their goals. They position themselves first and let the results speak later, while others speak too early, reveal too much, and face resistance before they're ready to move. You think honesty about your goals helps you grow. The truth is, timing and positioning determine whether you move at all. This is where the deeper realization starts to hit. You've been playing a game without fully understanding the rules. You believed effort was enough. You believed consistency would carry you forward. You believed doing the right thing would eventually lead to the right outcome. And none of those beliefs are completely wrong. They're just incomplete. Because inside a system, effort without visibility is invisible. Value without positioning is trapped. And ambition without strategy is risky. That's the deeper insight most people never reach. You're not stuck because you're not working hard enough. You're stuck because you're optimizing for the wrong variables. And the system doesn't correct you. It rewards your behavior just enough to keep you going. Small raises, occasional praise, maybe a new title that sounds bigger than it pays. Just enough to make you believe progress is happening, while keeping you exactly where you are. That's how the system maintains itself, not by stopping you, but by slowly stabilizing you. And here's the uncomfortable truth. The system is not designed to be fair. It's designed to be efficient. Efficiency means keeping high performers where they create the most value, even if that means limiting their growth, even if that means delaying their progress. Not because anyone is against you, but because the structure benefits from your position. That's the reality most people never say out loud. And if you don't understand it, you'll spend years thinking you're building momentum, when you're actually maintaining someone else's stability. And the cost of that realization shows up late. It shows up when you compare your salary to the market. It shows up when you see people with less experience ahead of you. It shows up when you realize time has passed, but your position hasn't. That's when it hits. You weren't progressing. You were sustaining. And the longer you stay in that loop, the harder it becomes to break, because now you're not just experienced. You're specialized. You're known for a specific role, and moving becomes riskier. That's the trap. Not obvious, not immediate, but powerful over time. And if you don't adjust, you don't just lose years. You lose direction. So what do? You don't panic. You don't quit emotionally. You shift your perspective. You stop assuming effort is enough. You start asking, who sees my work? Who talks about my value? Where is my visibility? You stop treating your role like a ladder. You start seeing it as a position. And positions can be changed, not by waiting, but by moving. Sometimes that move is internal. A different team, a different function, a different manager. Sometimes it's external. A new company, a new environment, a new system. But the key is intention. Because the people who move forward are not the ones who work the hardest. They are the ones who understand what the system rewards and align themselves with it. They make their work visible. They control their narrative. They move before they become too comfortable. And once you understand that, everything changes. You stop playing blindly. You start playing strategically. And that shift is the difference between staying stuck and actually moving forward. If this changed how you see your situation, consider subscribing. Because once you understand the system, you don't just survive it, you learn how to use it.